But they are going to present and serve on a panel. But we have a few questions for you. So this is our panel of administrative assistants / all things amazing on campus, because they are awesome. And we have Miss Jessica Buford, and she is right there. You've seen her all day. We also have Miss Kitty Kunkel, and she's from the College of Health Sciences and Human Services. We have, and she's in the middle, we have Miss Lauren Gillespie from the College of Science and Technology. And then we also have, I'm missing one of my pieces of paper that you'll see in just a couple moments. Miss Trey, well, it threw me off because I'm supposed to have your certificate, which is right here. So, and Miss Tracy Rogers, and she's from the College of Education. So we are very excited that they're here. And we, if you could just tell us about your role at Tarleton, what a typical day looks like for you, and then also your, like, how long have you been with EAD?
I'm going to start. My day is chaos. Just kidding. Really, I mean, I'm there to help the dean and the associate dean get where they're needing to go on time, hopefully. That's always the goal. We work with students quite a bit. We're kind of a one-stop shop for problems. It may not even be our college, but they find us, and so we just guide them as best as we can. I have worked with EAB once, and it was this last suspension campaign. Our college isn't really utilizing it fully right now. That may change in the future once we get some faculty training done and just really pump them up for the program. But I would say I'm a beginner level EAB expert.
I told them we're all experts because they're the ones who know how to truly work the suspension campaigns through that system. So,
So I work for College of Health Science and Services, and I'm actually new. So I didn't have suspensions before EAB. I started with EAB, and which probably helped because I didn't have anything prior. Blank slate. And so it really worked well, but my, typical day is never the same. If it can catch on fire, it probably will. I think as administrative coordinators, we're just walking extinguishers. But I use EAB quite a bit, actually. I use it to check on students. If a student comes in, most of the time we use something called degree words. For me, I find it easier just to pull up EAB. It's got their picture. Now I do pull up degree words to back up the information to make sure. But we use it quite a bit, and my faculty and staff are pumped to get trained on it. So we've already got them in the boat. We just got to give them orbs. So I can't really describe my typical day though, because it changes so much. But like she said, I mirror a lot of things. Try to get to deans where they need to be on time, keep them on track. And that's pretty much it. And then the students that come in from all over different colleges, especially around graduation ticket time. That's always fun.
Yes.
I work with College of Education, and actually about the same. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We are there when the people first walk in our door, at least I am, and so we're shuffling traffic, and we're just trying to keep everyone happy and going to the right spots at the right time. So, but it's a good job. As far as EAB, I was also the same. December was my first time around, so I'm very new at it too. I really don't use it like I probably would like to, as Kitty does, because we do degree works more. But we'll talk more about how the EABs campaigns went. But I'm new also out here, so hopefully in May after this round, I'll be more well versed. Because December was a little hard for me because I had been with the old system. So anyway, she did great.
She did.
And I already introduced myself, but as far as EAB, I really do a lot with scheduling really and appointments and making sure those are correct. And let's say somebody's not able to meet for their appointment, like an advisor and whatnot, making sure that's taken care of and communicating with the students So there's a whole lot of that. That's my main function, and just following around Dr. Edwards and trying to soak up as much information about the system as I can, so that I can answer people's questions first whenever she's off doing something else.
I like how you put that. Okay, so ladies, thank you so much for serving on the panel. Here are your questions. It's like on a game show. You never know. So tell us about your suspension hearing experience prior to SSE at Tarleton.
There was a lot of paper. A lot of paper, a lot of phone calls, especially with the December, the fall suspension. We would send out paper letters to all of the students the day or 2 days before campus closed. And we're gone for 2 weeks. So we have kids panicking. I shouldn't say kids, students panicking. They're calling the office, they're emailing. I don't know about you, but I would check email over Christmas break just so they wouldn't have a heart attack and ruin their Christmas, So we'd have 20 messages from the same student trying to get a hold of us throughout the break. When we got back, it was a mad dash to get them all scheduled. And it was just, you could not pick up the phone fast enough. We had 5 lines, they would all be ringing. So, and you can, with paper and pen, you can only have one person scheduling. So 8 to sometimes 6:30, you were scheduling for days to get that done. I'm not supposed to go into EABs. That's just before. That's my experience. And I was even a student worker here, as a student. So I've got experience dating back, and things didn't change. But when I was a student worker here to coming back as a full-time staff, it was just tried and true in the paper and chaos.
And actually, Ms. Gillespie, what about the form that they would have to fill out to apply to appeal their suspension?
We did have a paper form that we asked students to fill out. We would put a stamp on them and mail them to some students. We would email to some students. We have fax to students. We put it on our webpage for them to access. Even with all of those avenues, students still didn't get it done, some of them. We would have them handy, they would come in 5 minutes before their appointment. I've got to fill out this form. Well, that form takes some thought. You need to take some time, tell us what happened throughout the semester. So transporting that document to them and getting it back was always an issue. Luckily, that's changed now. But yeah, so it's a lot of paper. Killing trees. We just had Earth Day, so. That's my experience, before EAB.
And I started in September, and so I wasn't there for any suspensions. This past was actually my first one, but we're also relatively new college. So 2 years there, whenever I came in, one of the things they said is, you're gonna need to restructure suspension. Now, this was before I even knew EAB existed. So I had no idea, but my budget records specialist came in and dropped, I'm not joking, a pile this high of just files. And she said, yeah, you're gonna go and file these, just look through, find your previous coordinator's notes, and there was not much structure there. And so I was pulling hairs, and I was like, I don't know how they do this on paper. I was trying to figure out how to put things on shared drive to where 2 people could schedule. So the form was pretty simple as far as our college went, but like she said, it gives some thought. You had to put what your GPA is. Did you work? Did you change majors? Are you still working? What happened? You can't fill that out 5 minutes prior. And we all know that there are students who like to say they don't receive mail, don't check their emails. So there was not really a good way to reach that student, and you cannot take. I have a smaller college. She has a larger college. I have maybe 100, 200. I'm not quite sure how many I have on suspension at a time. But I would not want to call every single one of them. And if you've got hundreds, I would definitely want to call. So there really wasn't a good way to do it. But that's the only thing I can really attest to prior to EAB. I didn't get to experience it, except for the aftermath.
And I should add too, our college went as far as to, because of I've never received it in mail. We went as far as to mail merge in Word, and we would send out emails to Tarleton email accounts with their letter, all of the directions, things like that. So we did the double electronic step just to try to reach them. And that way, I can tell you that I mailed that letter on Monday all day long. I don't have proof, tangible proof to show you that I mailed that on Monday. With the email, we could tell them it went out on this day at this time. So it kind of gave us, that, I don't know, that just reassurance that we could show them, yes, we did try to reach you, and this is him. So,
Yeah, I feel like with EAB versus the old way, especially like you mentioned in December, was really not fun for us because, like I said, we were answering emails on our break. I could be at my family's house in Longview, Texas, and I'd be sitting there all, and it's like that's not good for us either. And so I feel like that really is going to, it did relieve a lot of that going on during the holidays. Yeah, it kind of still was on my mind because it was all new and I checked, I'm sure I checked emails, but it wasn't like before when I was actually talking and trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I had my schedule with me that, it was not good, the old way. So I really, really liked December much better with EAB. We would send out a lot of letters, we send out emails. We did not have so much a detailed what happened in their semester. We really streamlined it, and so ours was not as long as I think some of the colleges. So, and that's okay, because you can have as much as you want, or a little on what happened this semester. But a lot of times our people were like, we don't even want to see that. We want to just talk to them when they came in. So that's something we probably are going to revisit this time around to see if they even want us to send anything out to the students at all. But anyway, it was a lot of paper, it was a lot of work. On top of that, of course, we also have dean's list letters to go during that time too. And then for me, that's huge. It was huge on top of the suspensions. So doing EAB really was nice.
we say the university postage, that's for sure.
Lots.
Well, first, my first comment is very important. I did not know you were from Longview, Texas.
From who?
Longview?
Well, I have family in Longview.
Okay.
I'm not from Longview, but that's where we go on holidays.
Me too, I go to Carthage. But that's a good segue into our next question. So tell me about your SSC at Tarleton, your EAB experience with suspension campaigns that happened. We met in December. We spent a lot of time in the computer lab, and it was great because I remember someone making the comments, this is the first time that we've ever gotten together and compared, notes with what is in the letter from college to college, and that was interesting. And then also for everyone to sit and launch it at the same time. But tell me about that experience for you guys when y'all were there, and then whenever you left, and actually executed the suspension hearing piece.
Going into it, I was leery just because it's a change. My mind was changed once we got into it. We were sitting in our conference room. I had just launched the first campaign. I couldn't even open the second campaign, and I already had an email that students had scheduled. Within literally 5 minutes of sending it, students had opened their email, clicked the button, picked their day and time. So that made me a believer. Because I was like, wait, my email's not supposed to work. It was good. It was good news. We did change our system a little bit. We streamlined our letter, the wording of our letter to just encompass you are on suspension. And you can contact our office for further details, because we have levels. It was nice when I did check my email over the Christmas break to just see that appointments had been made, forms had been filled out. Not, oh my God, I'm on suspension, what do I do? You're not answering me. So that was a relief. When we got back, we had probably, I would say 50% of our time slots already taken. by students, forms filled out, they would email with additional questions, but overall, it was a really good thing for our office. Students could enjoy their Christmas break, we could enjoy ours more. Next time getting into it, I'm still gonna need some help with clicking the right buttons to get the right things. But, I am a believer in it for suspension, and that is my only experience with it. So I'm not as stressed about it already.
So I was dreading suspension time before EAB, and Dr. Edwards got us all together and she was explaining it. I felt like a kid at the candy store. I was like, so much organization. And I chose not to streamline my letters simply because I felt like that would cut down on phone calls, because all I heard when suspension was coming up was, you're going to be on the phone 24/7, which we kind of already are. And so I just wanted to try to avoid that and cut out as many questions. Also, since I was new, it'd be less, let me check this real quick, So whenever we launched my first campaign, I think I ran 2 suspension campaigns, and then we had 1 warning campaign and 1 probation campaign. So I ran 4 campaigns, which really cut down on paper so much. But when I put that first launch button in there for the first suspension, like she said, seconds, a minute went by. I think it was a minute to 2 minutes. And I already had 5 students scheduled. I was like, there's no way. This is not happening. I think I had to double check it. I wasn't even done launching my second campaign. And it was so nice to be able to export all of this Excel document into this thing. I don't even know what to call it. But anyways, it's just to export it into my campaign, and then automatically all those students are right there. I didn't have to add them, and then add my letter, launch it, and then a week later, I sent out a reminder to those, because it's so cool, it's not little tabs. It's no appointment made, some appointments made, so just put the no appointment made tab, select all, send a note, hey, just schedule. And then, I forgot about that feature.
Yeah,
I
that's so nice. Booster campaign.
It was so great. And then it was also great because they could email me from, the little campaign. I get a response back, and their questions were just so efficient. And then coming back, not having a pile of stuff to do, it was really simple. Hey, you need to schedule. Hey, an appointment reminder, And not my favorite, that's not the right word, but it was nice when someone would try to call and say, we didn't know we were suspended. Is this your phone number? Is this your email? Like,
Text went out too.
Yes, text went out
The
too.
text feature.
Yes, so they got it. They said, you have an important email from your dean, check it. And then if they chose not to do that, that's on them. So if they said, oh no, that's my mom's phone number, well, you gave wrong information. And that's not our fault. But I could go back, it's really cool, I could go back and see, well, on December 21st at 1 p.m. you received this, and December 22nd at 3 p.m. you received this, and I could give them all of that proof, and they were like, oh, well, can we schedule, all of a sudden. Yeah, I know, yes, you can. And something else, I know I'm talking a lot, but I know suspension. Something else that was really, really neat, I had a student who, for whatever reason, couldn't seem to figure out how to make her own appointment. You can make the appointment. It's so wonderful. She's like, well, I can't do it. That's okay. I have a solution to your problem. You're trying to get out of your suspension hearing. It's not working. Let me just Dr. Edwards taught me how to do it. Let me just manually, do that. And so it was really so organized, so streamlined, so easy and user friendly. And I still use EAB for suspension overrides even. They have to make a contract. Can I go on this? Okay. They have to make a contract with us after their hearing. And part of it is you need to be meeting with your academic success coach, and you can see those check-ins. If there's an alert that goes out, I can see, hey, Dr. So-and-so you're an alert for failing. Why is that? So they come in for suspension overrides And they tell me, oh, I'm doing great, everything is wonderful. And I said, okay, well, how's your psychology class? Oh, it's wonderful. Well, your midterm grade is a D. Can you explain that? Well, the professor, isn't there something? Well, let me look at something else. I see you have went to an academic success check-in in January. It is now April. So did you think to maybe go to like February or March, if you're failing? Well, I just don't have time. Well, all your other grades are S. So, no, like, you're not going to get enough rights. And see you back in August. I don't tell them that. Obviously, it's a very nice way of saying, let's maybe rethink this. Come back to me closer to finals time. But that's just so nice to be able to check on it. It's so easy. If someone calls and says, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where I need to be, well, I can pull up the file and give me your student ID number. I see their picture, maybe that jogs my memory, and say, well, you should be going to this many success coach meetings or whatever, I can pull their contract. It's really helped, and I should mention, I got not many phone calls at all. I did get some, but it was nothing like what I was dreading would happen. Because everything was on us. The students are these days, it's right here.
Well, and with the text message feature too, the day of their appointment, they receive a text message reminder. Obviously keeping details out of it as to why you're coming, but it was date, time, location. Don't forget about your appointment in the science building on this date at this time. So we even hit them the day, I think it was the day before or the day of, I can't remember.
That night.
And we get notifications in our email that text message went out to this number for this person. So they're on their phones constantly, we are too, so it's right there.
Everything they did with that. And that actually reminded me, I'm going to text you, I'm excited. When we used the check-in feature, Dea suspensions, this changed the world of Dea suspensions.
See, we didn't use that.
Okay, great, we'll talk about that. So the check-in was so neat. I could put a kiosk up on 2 screens. So we put a kiosk on one of my alternate screens, and I had a little USB card slider that Comparedwords generously provided for us to borrow. And all they had to do was select their critique, and then it said, hey, this person's waiting. And then it could tell me how many are waiting, how long. Now, I struggled a little bit on confirming that they went into their appointment, so I'm going to do better this next time around. But that check-in just made it so easy. And if their ID didn't work, they could type in their number. There was guesswork on who's here. If they're late, it shows that they're late. So there wasn't, oh no, I was there. You just don't remember. It's an electronic blueprint, so I'll fix it. I think that's all I have to say. Sure.
Well, I think I was kind of a mess, honestly, in December. We always sent out, I pulled the list, like first time suspension, second, third. And so I brought letters, I would send out letters, for each group. And so I had many different campaigns, probably more than I needed, honestly, but now I know better. But at that time, I had all these campaigns, and my boss was getting the emails whenever.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so he came back after Christmas and said, I do not want any more emails. And that's why I was thinking, wait, did I check my emails? I didn't get any emails, and I don't know why. I guess
turned off that feature.
turned it off, but it wasn't turned off for enough birthday.
I know.
And so this was also new. So, I learned a lot. And he just said, I don't want any emails. He said, you can give them to the associate dean, you can give them to me. So, and now I've heard also now we can do more than, we can do all for us.
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you can turn off the feature so that you're not getting bombarded with emails again. But I'm sure it was discussed in that meeting that I was so overwhelmed back in December. So that's one feature that we definitely want to turn off, especially if it's
I just felt like it was working, right? At the day in Tracy's life. He knows what you're doing.
So that was one thing that I learned, to make sure that's turned off. And we have definitely streamlined our letter. In fact, I think we're going to do just 2 campaigns, one for first timers and then 2 up. We're gonna make it, and I put, if this is your second, this is what's gonna happen if it's your third, So it's gonna be, this time around, there's only the 2 campaigns, of course, there'll be the morning and probation, but, so I feel like I know a little more about what to do going in this time. I really, I was lost in December. It still worked very, very well, don't get me wrong, even though at that time when we were getting it all together with a lot of help, it worked, but I just didn't know what to expect. So this time around, I feel like I'm a little more prepared. And I know there's gonna be things I'm gonna need a little bit of help on, like, hey, how do we do this again? Because I've just only done it one time. But we're gonna make sure that all happens again, and it worked just fine. I really did like it. There are just a few things here and there that I know we need to kind of work on, and but it was great. It was much better.
I think we all learn things we can do different next time. I know there was talk in a meeting with our I-6C forms, creating a tag for if students receive certain forms, making a tag in EAB.
Yes.
So we can click John Doe left with an I-6C form, triple P program, P3 program form. So we can tag them in the system.
You can search
And yeah, and then it's not, well, we're trying to keep track of who leaves the office with a piece of paper, on our piece of paper. We can just put it in the system and we can track them that way. I don't know if we got that done yet or not. I hope so by the time we launch again.
Well, the thing is, you can see all the students who were on suspension with you, and then whether or not they did their I-6C, because
Perfect.
Ms. Kelsey is in charge of all the I-6C.
Yes, I know all your students.
They come in and say, my dean sent me here, I don't know why I'm here.
Oh, every time.
He
goes over
it, and I go over it.
Well, there's another cool feature in EAB too to just take some of the effort out, is you can go into your suspension campaign or morning probation, and you can see the percentage of people that have made an appointment, which we could figure that out, but it's nice when you're being asked how many people have done, you can say, well, 45% have already scheduled. So it's a nice tracker. I was excited to log on every day and see how much my percentage went up. Because we want to see as many students as possible and capture that time with them. And so just having that is handy is really nice.
And you can export the results as well, and it's just so nice for those of us like, because I do keep a paper trail, but now stack that was, this tall is like one file folder.
Well, maybe you can do a self-evaluation on your college through semesters, have our suspension rates
Yes.
gone up or down, or students coming to meet with our community? Where have they? We would have to go back into files and do it all manually. So having this now is going to be a lot easier.
And the awesome thing about EAB, we all did it a little differently, is you can personalize your campaign to suit your college. You can make watch lists. So if I know that I have suspension students that are probably in danger of failing, I can put them on a watch list. And whenever I open EAB, it's, hey, have you checked on these students? Or you can make them for I-6C forms. It's endless.
We have a group that our committee will say, no further appeals. They will not meet with that person anymore. They have to go directly to Dr. Barkley from here on out. And so, when we get the list that everybody wants suspension, and we just go through it, I will go through and not click those folks, because I will send them a different letter. Now, they might get an email, they might get a text, but it's not gonna be on the campaign. Because we don't want them getting the normal stuff, because they have to jump through some different hoops. And I don't know if we can do anything with the PAB for those folks or not. Yeah, and that's the thing, last time I just left them off, there's probably 20 of them. And I just know who they are, I have my list, I just made sure I didn't send them the normal letter, because they can't. As of last December, they could not go online and to make their appointments, they had to basically call me. And so that's just the way that we do it in our office, so, but that was not a hard thing to do, we just don't include them, so it's nice.
Well, ladies, here's the other piece. So I enjoyed hearing like the commentary. I'm like, yes. And then Miss Jessica has been, she was, actually I just invited her to come sit up for the training. She didn't know she was staying all day, the one that we were having in December, because she just started with me in November. And she stayed. But yeah, and she's still here. Yay! But Ms. Jessica, tell us about your experience regarding the training and the support for, our amazing team up here.
Well, I thought it was amazing, first of all, because it was my first time on the staff and knowing anything about suspensions or probations or anything, because I went through my undergrad, and thankfully I didn't have to deal with that. And so it was great listening to all their different ideas and then collaborate. And as far as support, it was really great to listen to them just like you are right now, giving each other their ideas and, hey, I tried this, and hey, I tried that, and getting together, calling the office. And then, like, let's say Tracy had a question about something, and then I could email Corey or whoever and say, guess what, we just found out, So you're always tweaking, and that's what we love about the system, is you're always finding ways to improve it. And there's this best practices is just like a living document. It's always just getting better. And it's different for every school and every college. So yeah, support wise, just they call and they have questions, and I ask Dr. Edwards and we figure it out.
We've also become proficient at YouTube videos, so.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just have to say something about Dr. Edwards real quick. So I asked her a question a few weeks ago, and she goes, wait, hold on. And she clicks on QuickTime. And instead of just talking to me and answering my question, she makes a video real quick, and then she puts it on YouTube because that's Dr. Edwards. And so, yes,
And
we have
then
a
we
great
can send
team
it to
here.
people.
Yes, and we just share. So, yes, that's how we support our staff.
So what did you like? Well, goodness, I feel like we've already talked about this one. Do you have anything to add about what did you like about using SSE for suspension hearings? Okay.
I love video crazy. It was just easier. It really was.
Easy, user-friendly,
Yes.
adaptive.
After years of doing pen and paper, it was refreshing. I was nervous at first, but it was refreshing. So.
I don't think there's really anything like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what did you dislike, or what would you change about next time?
We will probably do more campaigns, send out a suspension 1 campaign, a suspension 2, and a suspension 3, then a warning and a probation, because they all encompass different information. We streamlined our letter this past semester, just saying you're on suspension, and we put a link to the student rules, but they have for probation and suspension, and we directed them to that text in case they had questions. They should know what level of suspension they're on, but some of them don't. So we like the really detailed letters saying you are on 1, 2, or 3. This is what will happen if you make an appointment. This is what will happen if not. We put a lot of information in that letter to cut down some of the questions. So I think we will go back to our very specific letters in different campaigns. I was a little scared to run too many campaigns the first time because I didn't know how much juggling I was going to have to encounter with 5 campaigns open. But it really doesn't matter if you have 1 campaign or 5. It's really all the same stuff. So I think we will go back to that for scheduling purposes and just the information the students receive. Because it's really important for them to be aware of their status and what that means to them. Because they don't know unless they go to the handbook. And even with the link, some of them aren't going to go there.
Right.
So that's what
So for me, I will streamline the person who's receiving the campaign. So prior to finding out that you could actually have one person running a gazillion campaigns, I thought it was one person, one campaign. And that's, where her boss got the emails, my boss got emails, my budget person got emails, and now I'll put it all on me so that I'm getting that information. It wasn't an issue for them because I warned them and said just forward it on to me. But it's one extra step, and EAB is all about taking out those steps.
Mm-hmm.
So I will streamline it to myself. We'll probably alter the form that we have that they fill out. I will do more campaigns. So even though I felt like I did quite a bit, like there's there's so much more I could do to really personalize it to that group of students. Send out more reminders, and now that I know what I'm doing, we can start it earlier. 'Cause I think I actually did launch mine a day after because we ran into a few hiccups, but I don't foresee that happening. Yeah. That's probably, I don't really dislike anything that I do. That's why I don't do it.
I know, for me, so I hate to even admit this, it happened. I forgot a group on that main day that came in, and I didn't realize that I forgot. It was the first time in a college group. I didn't merge them together, and so all of a sudden it hit me, it's like, wow, I forgot. And so I panicked, called, and Dr. Edwards got back with me, and basically you had to do that for me, because even though I'd gone through, I could not remember. I was just a little frazzled, but we got them on. And so, but those folks, for some reason, I don't know why, they were like double booking on me or something. I'm not sure what happened there, and we do double book anyway, so for some of them we were more even. But that doesn't matter, because our first timers with our college anyway, they moved them pretty quick, and they want me to double book anyway, because we have 2 people. And so even though they were sometimes triple and looking on me, which I was probably going, oh, it all worked out fine. But and then of course turning off the email notification, and I'm going to have everything come to me this time around. Otherwise, I don't know, it was just good.
I forgot to mention that feature that you can opt in to double book, because we run a committee at the same time as we run our dean and associate dean meeting with people. The dean and associate dean split out so they can kind of stay on track. They normally take a little bit longer. But we have, 11 o'clock on Monday, open twice, so 2 people can schedule. And I was leery of that too, because I thought if something is gonna mess up, but it worked perfectly. So I like having that feature because we utilize it.
Yeah, and that actually reminded me, we don't necessarily double book, but what I can do, or what I want to attempt to do, is stagger our time. So we have our dean meet with our first time, and then anybody else meets with the committee. But if I have, several campaigns going, it can be really easy for 3 people to pick the same exact time slot. But I can stagger the times that my campaign is open. So like campaign 1 can only book an appointment from 8 to 9 and 1 to 4, et cetera, et cetera. And so you can stagger activities. That's something I want to try for this discussion.
And additional comments and questions from the audience. So what parting word would you
We like this word.
What parting word would you give to, or words would you give to people who are launching their first suspension hearing
Just do it.
It will work.
Yeah, just do it.
Dive head first.
Because, I would say my office as a whole is very accepting of new things. We really try and go with whatever's happening. We were leery about giving up that control we had over suspension and the way we did it, because it's something new, it is scary, but it paid off. So why fight back on something that could make your life a lot easier?
Did you have a question? I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is so awesome, because this is just something we've been thinking about, maybe implementing. And so, like right now, so are y'all doing this as an advising appointment campaign? Okay. And what do you title your campaign? Or what, when a student what are they seeing, what it's called?
We titled ours Cost, College of Science and Technology, Suspension, then we did title Warning and Probation.
Yes, so you can personalize that.
Yes.
Okay, one question is just like technical. How do you opt out of the notifications? I didn't know this was an option.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
There's in your settings.
I get them.
I missed it.
It's in your settings.
So there's a button in the settings, like in your, at the roll up.
Or the
In the, I thought
advisors' individual profiles, or, you know, the people who are launching the campaign, it has like ding, and then it has like email and then text. So we unclicked all of those for people who did not want to get those additional notifications.
Oh, that's
Those
those
personal
notifications when, so is that connected to, if a student, that's connected to the reminders? I didn't know that. I thought that was just,
I thought there was an
I
additional.
thought that was
setting
just a
feature.
notification when they checked in.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was also notifying you when they made the appointment. Okay, so this is exciting. People are gonna be super jazzed. Okay, my other thing is, how do you attach the form that they need to fill out to the message, and then when you get it back, I'm guessing they email it back or something, or y'all can tell me, do you save it as a note on the student's profile, or how do you attach that information to the student's profile / their requirements to, like, for academic probation, like, these are the things you need to do, like, where does that stuff live so an advisor can see it?
Creating it, she made my hyperlink,
Yes.
so that's something I'm gonna need help with again. And then.
Y'all know I'm transitioning, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, we're done with you.
That's what I said.
No, but, and then when we got it back, did it come through Qualtrics?
It did, so
Okay,
we
that's what I thought.
made it in Qualtrics, and when the students filled out the form, because it's crazy to get back into Qualtrics and download that information, because it's pure craziness. But what we did, we put on an email notification that automatically went to Ms. Gillespie and me and someone else.
I was the only one getting it in my college.
Got it, okay, so it would automatically go to her, but it would be a pre-filled email, student name, student address, like everything. So she could just print that out and she's good to go, and she never had to log into Qualtrics.
So, for me, it was very, very similar. I just kind of adapted a little bit. When we were making the campaign, like she said, the hyperlink was in the letter that they got. Okay, so they clicked on it. Now, something else that I chose to add was in the reminder, if I hadn't received, when I came back from Christmas, if I hadn't received one, I attached it in a reminder, hey, you scheduled your appointment, here's the link to fill it out. And then like she said, before your appointment, yeah, you gotta bold that. And yeah. And whenever I got it in my email, I printed it out, and you can actually add a tag to the student, you know, that says form completed, however you want to do it. And so you know, but I create folders for my committee, and those folders stay in my office as well, so I have a hard copy because I have the contract and everything else. So I print it out and I just put it in there, but it was really easy to just, you know, check mine if that student had it.
Okay. Does so y'all don't put any information about what their requirements are in SSC?
My college did not.
And we do it in DAB.
We do other group, but it's
Yeah.
Yes. But the requirements, they also fill out the I-6C form. So when they talk about I-6C, it's like an individual education plan. But the dean will say whether or not the student has to have a mentor, whether the student it's an opt-in thing for whether or not a student has to come by to do study skills, or so there are like 8 different, and I can post that later, but there are 8 different things that they have to do. So Ms. Kelsey and Ms. Destiny get the I-6C forms, we have them in the notebook, and they keep tabs. So every time a student from the suspension hearings comes by and meets with one of them, then they tag that student as attending. So it's like that.
But there's nothing that's showing up, like the specifics that are like that student needs to do in SSC, that's not showing up on there, it's just a simple,
Okay.
so-and-so's done this form, so-and-so's done this form.
Okay, gotcha.
And we've done that in years past with tagging. So if a student has come, well, here's the other piece. They've come to study skills, they've come to have a check-in point with the mentors, they've come to the career services, like evaluation piece. So all of that swipe card data is all, and they come to study skills and SI. So all of that swipe card data is already in SSC. And so now we're having the students do everything on here because it couldn't hurt. And so all the students have to make, you know, 6 touch points throughout the semester. So if we see students who do not have a touch point or a tag for that piece, then we can know by searching who has not done this.
And I just want to add something onto that. You know, she's talking about the check-ins, and I mentioned it earlier. There can be notes attached to that check-in. So if they have a check-in, there can be a note that describes not too much in detail because there's some things you don't want everybody to see, but you can kind of create your own little, whatever you feel
Some of the
necessary.
notes too, if you notice like on the right, you can modify that to who can see it.
Yes, yeah, you can make it in
Right.
video.
Yeah. Like, is it open to the student record? Yes, no.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's just something I know, even maybe the student is no longer, it's no longer an option for the student to have a particular major. And so we're just talking through how could we effectively communicate that to the advisor so they would know before they meet with the student. I didn't know that was.
I would say a tag. Yeah, you can even make a little code,
Yeah.
so it's not something that's commonly known, and when they see that tag, the advisor's gonna know, oh. Yeah, I think we have some tags that are like that, I can't remember one off the top of my head.
No, that's good.
Blue Jay 1.
Yeah.
Blue Frog 1.
Yeah, exactly.
5, yes.
Perfect. Well, and that, I think that's really good, and especially if this student, well, just like if academic mentoring is a requirement, even having a tag that says academic mentoring, that way, people who know what that is know, oh, okay, this student's required to do this. But anyway, okay, awesome. Thank you for.
So I'm the administrative associate for academic support programs at Baylor, and so like what y'all are saying is like, okay, and I'm kind of comparing like what I've done. So I have a couple of questions. So we do a variety of things, and I know that y'all are predominantly in the dean's office here with Dr. Edwards. Do you only make appointments in SSC, or do you guys use other appointment systems?
Now we use this. I don't use.
So the deans don't, so like, do you make, like, for like, I'm talking like, do you make appointments for the deans for other things? Do they use Outlook?
Outlook.
Okay, how has the syncing been with y'all? Because my department has been having issues with SSC and Outlook not syncing together.
I personally had no issues. Now, I have heard of a few other people having issues, but I haven't had any issues syncing my EAB calendar to my Outlook calendar. I still haven't synced now, and I haven't had any issues. But I do know of somebody who had an issue a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if y'all fixed that or not, but. Who was it? TJ?
I think she's fixed, but let me write it down just in case.
I was just curious, but I think what ours might be is that we have so many different services and so many people do so many different things, so they have availability. So I'm thinking that what it could be is that we just don't have their availability set right and everything. And so I think it's like overlap. So then if you make an appointment in Outlook, it's supposed to automatically come over, and sometimes those don't show up right. But I think it's getting better on that. So I was just curious.
I do know when I first started thinking there were some buggy things, but they kind of worked themselves out, so I just recommend you make sure it was that, and hopefully work itself out.
And then the other question that I have is, I know you guys said that y'all are using campaign sports suspensions. So did you put yourselves on the campaign and your teams with that, or was it just like who was included as the advisor that was like on there?
So mine were under me.
Okay.
I left my dean out of it because his email box is full as it is.
But then here's my question: how did you manually go into his thing and say, okay, hey, you have these appointments here?
No, because we book a full week. We see suspension students all day for 2 days of the week, or sometimes 3, and then morning and probation for full days. So they know what to expect.
Set those up in the campaign, and so then the deans know, okay, these days I'm doing this.
Yes, they know they're doing it all day.
Okay.
And we don't sync calendars in my college. Their Outlook is not, and my Outlook is not synced with EAB. We keep it separate.
Okay, but go in and block off that time frame to say let's
We
switch.
just block the dean, the associate dean, and our committee members all day in their Outlook calendars, because that's what they're used to. They show up in our office and that's what they do.
Okay.
They have an appointment with you, associated.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
but
You know where they need to go.
I know where they go, and I
Okay.
direct the traffic on
Awesome.
there.
Yeah, so, because we manage their calendars, so we sit down with our dean sit down with us, vice versa, and they say, well, May 27th, that's when I want to hold suspensions. Well, okay, you're gonna need 2 days, so at least in my college, you're gonna need 2 days, the first day for suspensions, the second day for the appeals to those suspensions. And so we just go ahead and block all that off, no outside appointments, and then everything, this past time I had the campaign set up to go to other people, but I still need a lot of booking. So it's in this time of just being, but that was a good question.
Yeah, because that's what I kind of did with some campaigns that we had. The first time I did it, I set the 3 people up with it, and it just became a mess, and they didn't know that I couldn't really see and view it right. And so then whenever we had the students checking in for, it was like a group meeting is what it was. We were like getting students to come in for a huge group meeting, and it just like, I was able to export the results. We got what we needed out of it, and they fill out the paperwork and such. But then on the next campaign, I like put myself down, and that worked a lot better because what would happen is like, let's say we put our campaign meeting time at, I think, like 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. We did it from 4 to 4:30. Well, if I hadn't sent the campaign out or nobody had scheduled yet, and I had only put that staff member on there, what would happen is the staff member would put something over it because you had to leave your Outlook calendar open for that time before things could come in. And if you had something on the Outlook and you sent the campaign out, nobody would be able to make an appointment on it. And so I had to manage those, and it worked fine, and our staff stayed, and they marked it on theirs as, oh, I had a meeting this time. But I was just curious if y'all did it similar, so it sounds like in a way very similar.
Well, everyone, please join me in thanking for your questions as well. We wanted to present you with these certificates of innovation.
Oh.
That's why it kind of threw me off a few moments ago when I didn't have Ms. Rogers' certificate in here. So this is for launching the SSC system in College of Education. This is for launching the SSC system in College of Science and Technology. And this is for launching the SSC system in the newest college, the College of Health Sciences and Human Services. So thank you.